Priyai Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha. Vrindai Hai Tulsi Devi Priyai Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha. Jai Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Okay.
Actually, we have created some space, so just fit in as well, and have some distance as well. Yeah. So yeah, devotees can use the stairs and the chairs over there, please. Mataji, you can also move in that side as well.
Yeah, give more space.
Yeah, just have some space.
We can open the door and put some chairs outside.
Well, not outside, I said.
Yeah, no, not
I don't think we have to be too fanatic.
No, we put a chair there.
Hey.
Okay, just everybody be careful.
Yeah. Everyone please wear the mask. If you don't have, just let us know. We can provide you one.
Yeah.
Action. Just give it. I'll get some chairs.
Anyone dies, I'm not responsible.
We'd be so lucky to die with you, Guru Maharaj, here.
Well, you won't die with me here. That's the problem. Glad to see all the brahmacharis taking precautions. They're intelligent. So back to me giving class with a mask on.
No, everyone of us is wearing, so you can take yours.
No. Because the chanting is when it actually spreads.
Okay, maybe after changing.
We'll see. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Vijaya Ballabha Giri Varadari Giri Varadari Vijaya Ballabha Jaya Giri Varadari Giri Varadari Prabhupada, Paramahansa Paravidikacharya, all Suteta, Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Sabaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Maturadam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Munmai Ki Jai Shivadi Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious the assembled devotees, all glorious to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschachat Deja Tarane Somigana Timidanda Shagananjana Shalakaya Chakshur and Minitam Yena Tasmai Shigarmena Maha. So we are presently reading from the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta Antya Lila, chapter 6, which talks about Raghunath Das Goswami and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's interactions with Raghunath Das Goswami. So we just started the chapter. We're actually on text 12 in this chapter, so let's go. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so let's start reading and then we'll comment. Hey Mata Vihare Gora Lana Bhakta Gana Raghunatha Milana Hebe Shuna Bhakta Gana. So, the Lord thus enjoyed his life with his devotees. O devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, now hear how Raghunath Das Goswami met the Lord. Purve Shantipure Raghunatha Yabe Aila Mahaprabhu Kripakari Tanre Shikaila. When Raghunath Das, during his family life, went to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Shantipur, the Lord gave him worthy instructions by his causeless mercy. Prabhura Shikshate Teno Nijagare Yaya Makata Vairagyachari Hoila Vishaya Preha. Instead of becoming a so-called renunciant, Raghunath Das, following the instructions of the Lord, returned home and played exactly like a pounds and shilling man. Vitare vairagya bhakire kare sarva karma dekyata mata pitara anandita mana. Raghunath Das was inwardly completely renounced even in family life, but he did not express his renunciation externally. Instead, he acted just like an ordinary businessman. Seeing this, his father and mother were satisfied. Mathura haite Prabhu aila, Varta yabe poela, Prabhu pasha charibare, Udyoga karila. When he received a message that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had returned from Mathura city, Raghunath Das endeavored to go to the lotus feet of the Lord. Hena kale mulukera ekamalachari kare saptagrama mulukera sehaya chodhuri. At that time, there was a Muslim official collecting the taxes of Saptagrama. So a little history here is that Raghunath Das Goswami was wanting to escape from his house again and again and again. And Lord Chaitanya, when he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, he said, don't act foolishly. You should act like a woman who has a paramour. So what does that mean? That means act in such a way that nobody suspects that you're thinking of Krishna. So that's actually good instructions for everybody in this world. In other words, we shouldn't act like crazy people in the name of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes I see devotees, oh my God, I shouldn't talk about this. Sometimes I see devotees, what? No. It's hard breathing my own breath into the mask sometimes. Sometimes I see devotees get into all sorts of weird stuff and take positions in material affairs and even try to protest it. I'm not going to talk about COVID, don't worry. Protest at abortion clinics and things like that. But we should be respectable persons so we can cultivate the Shreshtas in society. Shreshtas means the leaders of society. So that's the point. You know, if we look like a bunch or act like a bunch of weirdos and are into conspiracy theories, sorry about this, then at that time we're not going to make much inroads into society. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Raghunath Das Goswami are very appropriate for all of us. You know, just fit into the culture, act nicely, but be Krishna conscious. And internally, you cultivate your love of Krishna, but don't go rolling on the ground in front of everybody, chanting, rolling on the ground. You can chant Krishna's name, but don't roll on the ground while you're doing it, even if you're feeling some ecstasy. So, at that time, there was a Muslim official collecting the taxes of Saptagrama. Formerly, when the Muslim government was in power, the person appointed tax collector would collect the taxes of the local zamindars, or landholders. He would keep 1/4 of the collection for himself as a profit, and the balance he would deliver to the treasury of the government. And that way more taxes were collected, because the tax collector actually had an impetus to collect taxes. You understand? Nowadays, if there's a tax collector in the government, he's a bureaucrat. So basically, he doesn't really care how much taxes are collected. He doesn't get a commission. Isn't it? I'm sure in the New Zealand government, Hare Krishna. I'm sure in the New Zealand government, the tax collectors don't get a commission. Not at all. But here, there's an impetus to really find out everybody who owes taxes. So it's a good system. Unless someone cheats. Aranyadasa muluka nila makrali karya tarari karagela mare se dekiya. When Aranyadas, Raghunath Das's uncle, made an agreement with the government to collect taxes, the Muslim Chaudhuri, or tax collector, having lost his position, became extremely envious of him because he was not getting his salary. Varalaksha deya rachaya sadevi shalaksha seturu kichuna panahaila pratipaksha. Haranyadas was collecting 2 million coins and therefore should have delivered 1,500,000 to the government. Instead, he was only giving 1,200,000, thus making an extra profit of 300,000 coins. Seeing this, the Muslim Chaudhuri, who was a Turk, became his rival. Rajagare Kaipiyat dia uchire anila Ranyadasa palaila Raghunatere vandila. After sending a confidential account to the government treasury, the Chaudhuri brought the minister in charge. The Chaudhuri came wanting to arrest Hiranyadas, but Hiranyadas had left home. Therefore, the Chaudhuri arrested Raghunath Das. Pratidina Raghunathe Kariye Varsana Vapa Jitharyana Nahi Bhaiva Yatana. Every day the Muslim would chastise Raghunath Das and tell him, "Bring your father and elder brother, otherwise you will be punished." Marite ananye yadi deke Raghunathe Manapiri ayatabe napare marite. The Chaudhuri wanted to beat him, but as soon as he saw Raghunath Das's face, his mind changed, and he could not beat him. That's a devotee. Devotee is Dira Dira Janapriyo Piyakaro. He's very dear to everyone, to the envious and to the other devotees. Visheshi Kayashta Bujye Antare Kare Dara Muke Tarje Garje Marite Sabaya Antara. Indeed, the Chaudhuri was afraid of Raghunath Das because Raghunath Das belonged to the Kayashta community. Although the Chaudhuri would chastise him with oral vibrations, he was afraid to beat him. So Prabhupada explains that Raghunath Das belonged to a very aristocratic family of the Kayashta community. He had substantial influence with the local people, and therefore the Chaudhuri or minister was afraid to beat him. Superficially, he would chastise Raghunath Das with threatening vibrations, but he did not beat him. The members of the Kayasta community in India are generally very intelligent and expert in business management. Formerly, they were mostly government officers. They were mentioned even by Yajna Valkya, as quoted by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabha Vasha. Chatataskara Durvitar Maha Saharshi Kadibihi Pidjamana Praja Rakshet Kayastais Cha Visheshataha. From this verse it appears that the governmental officials of the Kayashta community would sometimes chastise the citizens, and thus it was the duty of the king to protect the people in general from the atrocities of the Kayashtas. That is the business people. In Bengal, the Kayashta community is honored almost as much as the Brahmin community, but in the upcountry of India, the Kayashtas are considered Shudras because they generally eat meat and drink wine. In any case, from history, the Kayashtas appear very intelligent. Thus, the Muslim Chaudhuri was afraid of Raghunath Das because he belonged to the Kayashta community. Tabe Raghunatha Kichu Chintila Hupaya Vinati Kariya Kai Semalachapaya. While this was going on, Raghunath Das thought of a tricky method of escape. Thus he humbly submitted this plea at the feet of the Muslim Chaudhuri. Amara Pita Jeshta Hoya Tumara Dwi Bhai 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 Tumara Kalaha Kara Sarvadai. My dear sir, my brothers, my father and his elder brother are your brothers. All brothers always fight about something. Kabu Kalaha Kabu Priti Ihara Nishya Nai Kali Punatina Bai Haiba Eka Tanti. Sometimes brothers fight among themselves and sometimes they have very friendly dealings. There is no certainty when such changes will take place. Thus I am sure that although today you are fighting, tomorrow you three brothers will be sitting together in peace. Ami ache pitari atache tomara balaka ami tomara palya tumi amara palaka. Just as I am my father's son, so I am also yours. I'm your dependent, and you are my maintainer. Palakahana palayere tadite na yuyaya tumi sarva shastrik jana jinda Pita pirapraya. For a maintainer to punish the person he maintains is not good. You are expert in all the scriptures. Indeed, you are like a living saint. So you see how expert he is in politics. So it's not that people join the Krishna conscious movement because they're completely incompetent. But he's extremely competent. This is the point. This is the reason the story is being told. And also, another thing we can understand is the village relationships that they had in those days, that the Muslims and the Hindus and everybody in the village, they were actually like family members. It's not like that nowadays. Eta shuni sema lachera mana ardahaila dadivahi ashrupade kandite lagila. When the Muslim heard Raghunath Das's appealing voice, his heart softened. He began to cry, and tears glided down his beard. That's called manipulation. But that's politics. Malacha bale aji haite tumi mora putra aji chadai mutoma kari eka sutra. The Muslim Chaudhry told Raghunath Das, "You are my son from this day on. Today, by some means, I shall have you released." Ujivi kariya Raghunathe Jadai la Pritikari Raghunathe Kahite lagila. After informing the minister, the Chaudhry had released Raghunath Das and then began to speak with him, to him with great affection. Tomara jeshta nirbudi Ashtalaksha kaya Amivagi amare kichu Dibare yaya. Your father's elder brother is less intelligent, he said. He enjoys 800,000 coins, but since I am a shareholder, he should give some portion of it to me. So bribery. That's a tradition. Yaha tumi tomara jestare milaha amare ye mate balahaya koluna bhara dilun tandre. Now you go arrange a meeting between me and your uncle. Let him do whatever he thinks best. I shall completely depend on his decision. Raghunatha hasitabe jestare milaila malacha sahita vasha kaila Sabashanta Haila. Raghunath Das arranged a meeting between his uncle and the Chaudhry. The matter was settled and everything was peaceful. Mato Raghunathera Avatsare Kagela Dvitiya Vatsare Palaite Mana Kaila. In this way, Raghunath Das passed 1 year exactly like a first-class business manager, but the next year he again decided to leave home. Vatrayuti ekela chalila palana durahaite pitatanre anila dariha. He got up alone one night and left, but his father caught him in a distant place and brought him back. Mate bare bare paria daria ne tabe tanra matahahi tanra pita shane. This became almost a daily affair. Raghunath Das would run away from home and his father would again bring him back. Then Raghunath Das's mother spoke to his father as follows. Putra bhaktula haila ihaya rakha mandiya tanra pita kahe tare nirvanahana. Our son has become mad, she said. Just keep him by binding him with ropes. His father, being very unhappy, replied to her as follows. Indra sama aishvarya stri apsara sama. I don't know if you understand the Bengali. It's really interesting, Bengali. He has Indra sama aishvarya. Aishvarya means, of course, opulence. Indra sama means the same as Indra. Like sama, Indra sama aishvarya. And then you have Stri. Stri refers to his wife or lady. Apsara sama is the same as an apsara. The Bengali is really interesting. Esaba Bantite Narileka Gyanra Mana. Raghunath, our son, has opulences like Indra, the heavenly king, and his wife is as beautiful as an angel, Apsara. Yet all this could not tie down his mind. Daridra bandhane tanre rakiba ke mate janmadata pitanare parabda kandhaite. How then could we keep this boy home by binding him with ropes? It is not possible even for one's father to nullify the reactions of one's past activities. Caitanya Candra Kripa Hanache in Hare Caitanya Chandra Batula Keirakite Pare. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy on him. Who can keep home such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra? Tabi Raghunatha Kichu Vicharila Madhe Nityananda Goswami Arupasha Chalila Aradine. Then Raghunath Das considered something in his mind, and the next day he went to Nityananda Goswami. Panihati Grame Paila Prabhura Darashana Kirtaniya Sevaka Sange Arabahu Jana. Actually, Raghunath Das was understanding that you cannot attain Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy without getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So he's trying to escape all the time, but without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, he couldn't join Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And actually, that's our system. That, first of all, you worship the spiritual master, who is the representative of Lord Nityananda, not different in one sense from Lord Nityananda. And then, of course, not different and non-different, Chincha Veda Veda Tapa. Oh my God, symptoms of ecstasy. Too ecstatic. It's a good lesson for the brahmacharis. You get married, and that's what you have to deal with. But not only in the morning, but in the middle of the night. And you're lucky if you get 1 hour's sleep at night. So anyway, sorry about that. Oh, you married people. Anyway, so our system is first you approach the spiritual master as a representative of Lord Nityananda. And by Lord Nityananda's mercy, you become free of anarthas, which are actually the impediments, the reason why we can't join Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then you approach Lord Nityananda and get his mercy, and you come to the ecstatic platform. And then, to understand the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, you approach the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So that's the hierarchy right there. So, Panihati Grame Paila Prabhu Varadara Shana Kitaniya Sevaka Sangai Arabahu Jana. In the village of Panihati, Raghunath Das obtained an interview with Nityananda Prabhu, who was accompanied by many kirtan performers, servants, and others. Ganga Tire Vrikshamule Pindara Upare Vashyachena Yena Koti Suryodaya Kare. Sitting on a rock under a tree on the bank of the Ganges, Lord Nityananda seemed as effulgent as hundreds of thousands of rising suns. Tale upare bahu. Whoops, someone's on a comment here. Oh my God. The comment. Oh, it's Prem Govinda again. He likes my Bengali translation, my Bengali pronunciation. He's Bengali, so wow, that's the highest compliment. Or maybe he's just trying to butter me up, so I don't push him so much. He's my as I mentioned to the devotees yesterday, he's the cousin of Bhakti Chur Maharaj from the same village and everything like that. So, and he's working with me as my regional secretary. So, Tali upare bahu bhakta anache vishtita deki prabhura prabhava Raghunatha vismita. Okay. Many devotees sat on the ground surrounding him. Seeing the influence of Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das was astonished. Dandavat anase padila kata dure sevaka kahi Raghunatha dandavat kare. Raghunath Das offered his obeisances by falling prostrate at a distant place, and the servant of Nityananda Prabhu pointed out, "There is Raghunath Das, offering you obeisances." Shuni Prabhu kahi chora dili darashana. That's also funny Bengali. Because it's the same word in Hindi, chora. That means a thief. Aya ajitora karimu dandana. Hearing this, Lord Nityananda Prabhu said, "You are a thief. Now you have come to see me. Come here. Come here. Today I shall punish you." Prabhu bolaya teno nikate nakare gamada akarshya tanramate Prabhu darila chadana. The Lord called him, but Raghunath Das did not go near the Lord. And then the Lord forcibly caught him and placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head. Such mercy. Kotuki Nityananda se dayam hoya Raghunathe kahi kichu hana satoya. Lord Nityananda was by nature very merciful and funny. Being merciful, he spoke to Raghunath Das as follows. Nikate nahaisa chora bhagature dure aji lagi panachi dandamo tomare. You are just like a thief, for instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place. Now that I have captured you, I shall punish you. Dari chida bhakshana Karaha mora gane shuni anandita kulila Raghunatha mane. Make a festival and feed all my associates yogurt and chipped rice. Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. Sekshane nijaloka pathaila grame vakshadravya lokasaba gramahaite ane. Raghunath Das immediately sent his own men to the village to purchase all kinds of eatables and bring them back. Chiradadi dugda sandesha arachina kala sabadravya anana alchodike darila. Raghunath Das brought chip rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas, and other eatables and placed them all around. So in other words, Lord Nityananda was advising them that if you want Krishna's mercy, you have to serve the Vaishnavas. This is really what's going on here. That if you want Lord Nityananda's mercy, then you have to serve Lord Nityananda's devotees and, Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas say Jiva Doy and Namaruchi. Important points. With that, because as mentioned by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, bhakti is not given by Krishna, but it's given by Krishna's devotee, because bhakti is independent. So it's in the heart. Krishna say Tamar, Krishna dite par. Like we run after Krishna's devotee and we say, Krishna is yours. You have the power to give him to me. I run behind you shouting, Krishna, Krishna. So, anyway, next verse. Mahotsava nama shuni brahmana sajana asite lagiloka asankhya ganana. As soon as they heard that a festival was going to be held, all kinds of brahmanas and other gentlemen began to arrive. Thus, there were innumerable people. Ara gramantara haite samagri anila shatadui chari cholna tanha anhaila. Seeing the crowd increasing, Raghunath Das arranged to get more eatables from other villages. He also brought 200 to 400 large round earthen pots. Bada bada mrit kundika Anila pancha sate ekavipra prabhulagi chidavi jaya tate. He also obtained 5 or 7 especially large earthen pots, and in these pots a Brahmin began soaking chip rice for the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. Ekatani tapta dugde chidabi jana ardeka chanila dadi chinakuila diha. In one place, chip rice was soaked in hot milk in each of the large pots, then half the rice was mixed with yogurt, sugar, and bananas. Do you have that festival here?
Last year we did.
What?
I think Tanamakan he organized chipped. Yeah. Pani hati khasa. Yeah.
Yeah, you had it here. What we do, what we do in our temple is we actually auction off the pots,
Okay.
and usually get donations about $10,000 on.
Wow.
Yeah, just a hint for you. We also allow devotees in their own homes to make their own pots.
Mm.
So we have all these decorated pots, maybe hundreds of decorated pots
Okay.
that are coming from different members of our congregation. They're all bringing it, and they put them on the altar in front of the deities.
Yeah.
And then we actually have an auction. Who wants this pot? Okay, that will be $500 for this pot. You can do that. You should try that. You'll raise a lot of money for the temple that way. Just a little hint. Actually, it started in Atlanta. His Holiness Caitanya Maharaj actually started that program. In Atlanta, which was one of his main bases, he actually started this whole festival every year. And he used to go into the kitchen himself and cook the sweet rice, the condensed milk and chip rice and everything like that. It was really amazing. Yeah, when he was in better health, he would actually do that himself. Major festival. People would come from all over the United States to attend that festival in Atlanta, Georgia. It's really nice. And then the devotees would set up booths and sell prasadam and everything right in the temple lawn.
Okay.
You should make it a major festival here. When is it?
I think it should be just this period actually. Oh, it's gone, is it?
13 June.
No, it's June.
Oh, it's in June.
Yeah, it's in June.
So plan for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can plan for it, and just like everyone will come, as long as it's good weather.
Yeah.
Ara deka ganavrita dughete chanila chanpa kala china grita karpura tate dila. The other half was mixed with. Uh-oh. It's like the Delhi train station. Actually, India had 4.7 million people died from COVID. That was the total so far. The other half was mixed with condensed milk and a special type of banana known as champa kala. Then sugar, clarified butter, and camphor were added. Duti pari prabhuyari pindate vasila satakundi vipratanra agete darila. After Nityananda Prabhu had changed his cloth for a new one and sat on a raised platform, the Brahmin brought before him the 7 huge pots. Chabutara upare yata prabhura nija ganhe mada bada loka vasila mandali rachane. On that platform, all the most important associates of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, as well as other important men, sat down in a circle around the Lord. Ramadasa Sundarananda Dasa Gadadhara Murari Kamalakara Sadashiva Purandara. Among them were Ramdasa, Sundarananda, Gadadhara Dasa, that's not Gadadhara Das Goswami, it's another Gadadhara. Murari, Kamalakara, Sadashiva, and Purandara. Dhananjaya Jagadisha Parameshwara Dasa Mahesha Gauri Dasa Hoda Krishna Dasa. Dhananjaya Jagadisha Parameshwara Das Mahesha Gauri Dasa and Hoda Krishna Dasa were also there. Udaranadata Adiyata Nijagana Upareva Silitsaba Sekare Ganana. Similarly, Udaranadatta Thakur and many other personal associates of the Lord sat on the raised platform with Nityananda Prabhu. No one could count them all. The devotees mentioned herein are described by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhasha. For further information, one may consult the following references in the Adi Lila, Ramdas chapter 10, text 116 to 118, and chapter 11, text 13 to 16, Sundarananda 11:23, Gadadhar Das 10:53, 11.13 to 15, and 11:17. Murari, the Murari mentioned here, and is different from Murari Gupta. His full name is Murari Chaitanya Das, and he is a personal associate of Nityananda Prabhu. Thus, one should consult chapter 11, text 20, Kamalakara 11:24, Sadashiva 11:38, Purandara 11:28, Dhananjaya 11:31, Jagadisha 11:30, Parameshwara 11:29, Mahesha 11:32, Gauri Das 11:26, Hoda Krishna Das 11:47, Udaranadatta Thakur 11:41. Shuni Pandita Bhattacharya Yata Vipra Khaila Nanya Kare Prabhu Sabare Upare Vasaila. Hearing about the festival, all kinds of learned scholars and Brahmins and priests went there. Lord Nityananda Prabhu honored them and made them sit on the raised platform with him. Dwi Mrit Kundika Sabaraha Gedila Ekae Dugdak Chida Are Dadi Chida Koila. Everyone was offered 2 earthen pots. In one was put chip rice with condensed milk, and in the other was chip rice with yogurt. Arabat Yata Lokasaba Chotura Talane Mandali Bande Vasila Taranahaya Ganane. All the other people sat in groups around the platform. No one could count how many people there were. Ekeka Janare Dwi Holna Dila Dari Chida Dugda Chida Dwite Vijayla. Each and every one of them was supplied with 2 earthen pots, one of chip rice soaked in yogurt and the other of chip rice soaked in condensed milk. So when the devotees prepare that during our festivals in the temple, sometimes they put, sometimes there's vegetable preparations in some of the pots, and sometimes there's different types of fruit in different pots. So everything is just like a variety of things, even more variety than that's being discussed here when we do it at the temple. And that way you have different things to auction off for different people. Who wants chip rice with mangoes? So, oh, I want it. And make sure the children are there, because the children say, get it, Daddy, get it. And the father's thinking, I'd have to pay for it. And the child will say, you got to get it for me. So make sure you get all the children at the same time during the auction. It'll work. Just get, Tilakini to prepare all the chip rice. Kona vipra udare stanana pana dviholnaya chita bhijaya ganga tire giha. Some of the brahmanas, not having gotten a place on the platform, went to the bank of the Ganges with their 2 earthen pots and soaked their chip rice there. So, tire stana napana nara kata jana jale namne dari chida karaye vakshana. Others who could not even get a place on the bank of the Ganges got down into the water and began eating their 2 kinds of chip rice. Keha upare, keha tale, keha ganga tire, visha jana tina tani pariveshana kare. Some sat on the platform, some at the base of the platform, and some on the bank of the Ganges, and they were all supplied 2 pots each by the 20 men who distributed the food. Hena kale, aila tata, ragavat pandita, hasite la gila deke, hana vismita. At that time, Raghava Pandit arrived there. Seeing this situation, he began to laugh in great surprise. Raghava Pandit, I believe he's Nishta in Krishna's pastimes. Ani sakti nana mata prasada nila prabhure age diya bhakta kanne vanti dila. He brought many kinds of food cooked in ghee and offered to the Lord. This prasadam he first placed before Lord Nityananda and then distributed among the devotees. So I think we'll end here so we can take some questions. So we end with text 72 was the last text. So we'll stop sharing and then we'll unmute everybody. So first of all, the devotees here, who has a question? Anybody have a question? About anything we read? Or any other topic? Question? No? Everyone's shy. Yes?
Thank you for class, Maharaj. I always wondered about you were talking about the hierarchy.
Yeah.
So here we're reading about one of the 6 Goswamis approaching Lord Nityananda, but for us it's the other way around. That we approach Lord Nityananda and then the 6 Goswamis.
Yeah. Because also, Raghunath Das Goswami, he observed the hierarchy too. If you actually think about it, not that he approached the 6 Goswamis, but let's talk about how he, Hare Krishna, how he achieved. Well, actually, he's a pure devotee, interested a devotee, but let's say externally how it appeared that he achieved perfection. First, he got Lord Nityananda's mercy, and then to be able to escape, as we're going to hear later on, he also got the mercy of his spiritual master, Yadunandana Acharya. And by the mercy of his spiritual master, who made a trick for him so he could escape in the middle of the night and join Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he approached Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he approached Swarup Damodar Goswami. So in other words, he had to ultimately approach someone on the level of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. I mean, he didn't have to. He's a Nityasiddha devotee. I'm just talking externally right now. But he's showing us by example the same hierarchy. Does that make sense? First he tried to approach Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya said, "Go back home, son. Act like a pound, shilling, pence person, and don't arouse suspicion. Act like someone who has a paramour." And then he acted perfectly, and then he kept trying to run away from home. Finally, he got the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And previously, he actually had an association with his guru, Yadunandana Acharya. Even though Yadunandana Acharya is not mentioned here until Raghunath Das actually gets to escape from home. But still, it was his guru. That is Raghunath Das Goswami's initiating guru, is Yadunandana Acharya. So anyway, so he had his guru's mercy, Lord Nityananda's mercy. Then he was able to approach Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him to Swarup Damodar Goswami. So it's the same process. Just, with different names, but the same process. Good question. Actually, that's a pretty nice question. So, yeah, that's our process. If we want to approach Lord Chaitanya, we have to go through the spiritual master and Lord Nityananda. And the description is given, Nayam Balahirina Labdwa. No one can approach or understand Krishna without getting the mercy of Balaram, and then Balaram Hoila Nitai. Balaram is actually, Nityananda is Balaram. And then Balaram, spiritual strength. And then we can approach Lord Chaitanya. And that's actually, this is an interesting point. So sometimes members of the Gaudiya Math, they sometimes criticize ISKCON for distributing Gaur-Nitai deities, or even they indirectly criticize Prabhupada by saying that Prabhupada installed Gaur-Nitai deities, whereas in the Gaudiya Math, they generally installed Gaur Gadadhar deities, which is a very high level of worship, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, and Gadadhar Pandit Goswami, who was actually Srimati Radharani. So they even use that particular point that Prabhupada installed Gaur-Nitai deities to try to guess at Prabhupada's Siddha Deha, Prabhupada's eternal spiritual relationship. And they even say, well, this means that Prabhupada was a coward boy. And actually Prabhupada said we should not even go there to try to understand who Prabhupada is in the spiritual world. It's not our business. Even Prabhupada commented when a devotee asked him one time, do you ever feel intense separation from your spiritual master? And Prabhupada said, that question you don't need to ask. That's a polite way of saying shut up. Or in Hindi, chup. So it's really, people, when they try to guess Prabhupada's spiritual identity, they're intruding. It's like sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. And what happens? You get there. There's an interesting story about sticking the nose. Once upon a time, when Rama and Lakshmana, let's go to the Ramayana. Ram and Lakshman were actually taken to Brazil by Ahir Ravana. You know that story. Before they were taken to Brazil, they were actually inside a fort that was made from Hanuman's tail. Did you know that story? I told the story. And basically, Ahir Ravana, sometimes called Mahayir Ravana, Ahir Ravana, he sent one of his servants to actually try to kidnap Ram and Lakshman, and he stuck his nose into this coil of Hanuman's tail, and his nose got cut off. And he went back to Ahir Ravana, and Ahir Ravana said, what happened to your nose? And he described it in it. Then Ahir Ravana actually had to go and kidnap directly Ram and Lakshman. It's an interesting story, isn't it? He kidnapped Ram and Lakshman by making believe he was Vibhishan. Yeah, he took on the guise because he could change his form. So, getting back to why I told the story, is that if we stick our nose into places like, even Surpanaka had that trouble. If we stick our nose into places where we don't belong, then we get it cut off. So we're not really supposed to try to guess. And it's, what's the difference? We should serve. Prabhupada said, deserve, then desire, So we serve. I mean, we're servants. That's our nature. We can't just say, Krishna, reveal this to me, and attack Krishna with our brains, with our teeny, as Prabhupada said, teeny brains, is Prabhupada's pronunciation. So anyway, so people criticize Prabhupada, or, minimize Prabhupada, let's say, from some members of the Gaudiya Math, because he installed Gaur-Nitai deities. But Prabhupada was very intelligent. Now, where did Prabhupada get the idea to install Gaur-Nitai deities? Well, it was obvious, because we all needed it. Prabhupada hadn't given us the mercy of Lord Nityananda, none of us would be here today. Prabhupada had just like installed Gaur Gadadhar. I mean, of course, Prabhupada could have done that. Then, very exalted, high platform. I think we would have had a bunch of sahajas too. If we had, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur worshipped Gaur Gadadhar. If you go to his house, you'll see the Gaur Gadadhar deities. And but Gaur Nitai, very interesting. And actually, many of Lord Chaitanya's devotees worship Gaur Nitai, like Hridaya Caitanya. Hridaya Caitanya or Gauridas. Gauridas actually had deities of Gaur Nitai made in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda's image. And those deities later on entered into the heart of Hridaya Caitanya. You know the story? Some of you may know that story. Should we tell the story? Okay, so Gauridas Pandit, he was Subal in Krishna Lila. And he basically, we don't have much time. He basically was worshiping Gaur Nitai, and he had a disciple named Hridayananda, not Hridaya Caitanya, who later on became Hridaya Caitanya. And Gauridas Pandit had to go somewhere, and he told his disciple to take care of the deities, and his disciple invited everyone to Gaur Purnima festival, the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so when the guru got back, Gauridas Pandit got back, he was very upset with his disciple because the disciple had done something without his permission, and he kicked his disciple out. The disciple went to the bank of the river, was very upset, but the deities followed the disciple. So when Gauridas Pandit opened the altar that day, Gaur Purnima celebration, the deities weren't there. And then he got really upset, understanding that Lord Chaitanya had left, and he took a stick to even beat Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And he found them on the bank of the river, with his disciple, Hridayananda. And then what happened is the deities were so much afraid, they jumped into the heart of Hridayananda, and from that point on, Hridayananda became known as Hridaya Caitanya, he who has Chaitanya in the heart. Nice story, anyway. So there are many followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who worship Gaur Nitai. Generally, those followers were coward boys. But we cannot project, the point I'm making, we cannot project that same understanding onto Srila Prabhupada's siddha, or perfect siddha deha, or relationship in the spiritual world. Because Prabhupada was very strategic. He understood that we needed Lord Nityananda. Because Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur were the first Sankirtan devotees. And so Lord Nityananda was responsible for saving Jagai and Madai. Otherwise, they would have had their heads cut off by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're all Jagais, and not all of you. You were all pious souls who only ate fish up until the time you were 12.
And Mugi.
Fish and murgi. And probably other things too. Anyway, eggs. So you're Yavanas. Yavanas in the disguise of Hindus. So, so basically, without Lord Nityananda, we wouldn't have a Hare Krishna movement. So it was, Prabhupada really understood, very strategic in the way he approached things. So don't jump to conclusions about Prabhupada's internal relationship based upon Prabhupada's strategy. Because it's, the two aren't connected. And, many people criticize, not all of his god brothers, but many of them were envious of Prabhupada. They said Prabhupada was successful in spreading Krishna consciousness because he was a good businessman before. Very offensive. Prabhupada was successful because Kali Kalera Dhamma Krishna Nama Sankirtan Krishna Shakti Vidanahi Tari Bhavartana, because he had Krishna Shakti, because he was following the order of his spiritual master. Also he's an interested devotee, but he was following the order of his spiritual master, which contains, the order of the spiritual master contains the success potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, I think you have to go to the class in the temple now, right?
No, that's fine.
It's 8 o'clock.
That's okay.
They'll get very upset.
No.
Okay, so any other questions? These are good questions actually we had so far. Yes.
Thank you for class, Maharaj. You were mentioning earlier on that the devotee is very competent, and I was wondering how much emphasis should we put on developing our competency in our various services?
In our services, actually, that's one of the 26 qualities of devotees. Daksha, it's mentioned. Not Daksha that we find in the Bhagavatam, who was expert in having children. But that is one of the 26 Vaishnava qualities. Daksha, or being expert. We should do everything nicely, not in a sloppy way. Not that we have to become expert in everything, but everything related to our service. I mean, obviously, you don't have to learn how to fix cars or fly airplanes. It'd be nice. But at least things that can help you in your service to Krishna. And especially learning, there's certain, I know not everybody's a scientist, but we should learn certain scientific details so we can actually talk to people about how life comes from life in an educated way, rather than just saying Darwin is a rascal. Or kick on Darwin's face with boots, Like Prabhupada said, we have to learn the arguments. If you're out there preaching, yes, you have to learn certain scientific arguments. And if you don't know them, you're going to appear very foolish. Not only the philosophy in the Bhagavad Gita, but also, some science there. You should know at least a little mathematics. 1 and 1 is 2. When you're distributing books and you're making change for someone, how much is 3 and 5? You gave me $10 and you want 8. You want to give 2 out of those 10. So what does that mean? 10 minus 2. How much is that? See, you should become expert. In whatever you're doing, you should become expert. But not entangled. There's a fine line between obtaining material knowledge and becoming contaminated by that material knowledge. Obtaining material knowledge for Krishna service. But the Isopanishad says, vidya avidya. One has to cultivate some knowledge of the avidya, the ignorance of this material world, in order to be Krishna conscious. You study the Upanishad, that's what it says. All right, good question. So, I think we should end now. Okay, so thank you all. Anyone online? Quick question? No one online. Yeah, Pran Govinda said, Nityananda Prabhu also has a connection with Madhurya Ras as Srimati Radharani's younger sister, known as Ananga Manjari. That's right. That's right. You are right. Boy, you are a Rasika devotee. Yeah. I should follow in your footsteps. That's Pran Govinda. He's really... Anyone who's watching my classes on the internet knows Pran Govinda. He's really a nice devotee. We're going to rescue him from Alachua as soon as he gets sannyas this year. Okay. I guess that's it. We'll see everybody later. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.